My story is incredible. Episode 1, Mom dos Mui Dezenavi. There was something about 2019 that felt different from the very beginning. Like the world had quietly shifted overnight, and I had woken up in a version of reality where everything moved faster, felt deeper, and somehow mattered more than it ever had before, even though I couldn't explain why at the time.
And slowly, without even realizing it, I start changing not dramatically. Not all at once, but in small, almost invisible ways, shaped by every match, every night, every conversation that stayed in my head longer than it should have, building a version of me that was more aware, more driven, but also more conflicted.
There was something about 2019 that felt different from the very beginning. Like the world had quietly shifted overnight, and I had woken up in a version of reality where everything moved faster, felt deeper, and somehow mattered more than it ever had before, even though I couldn't explain why at the time. I didn't know it yet, but that year was going to change me. Not in one moment, but in 1,000 small ones. 2019 for me was like a fresh breath of air, and it feels like a new life.
Days started blending into nights, and nights into stories, and stories into memories that didn't feel real until much later, when I would sit alone and try to understand how I became the person I was becoming. Because finally, I become something, someone. There were games. So many games. But nothing nostalgic, Praj.
Indoor soccer artificial lights, where the air felt heavy and every touch of the ball echoed like it meant something bigger. Like every pass was a statement and every goal was a release of something I couldn't put into words. And then the outdoor matches on grass, where everything slowed down just enough for you to feel the rhythm of the game. The wind, the space, the silence before the moment exploded.
Life is beautiful, Maxie. Whatever it takes in some moments to realize different. Because if you passed a bad moment, the beauty will come if you have patience. You understand better my words than anyone else, maybe.
And in between those matches, there was action. There were people. There were beautiful things. Especially her. What a wonderful cougar. Or maybe them. Or even when. Because 2019 wasn't about just one story. It was about multiple paths crossing at the wrong time. Or maybe the perfect time, depending on how you look at it now. Because every conversation felt like it carried weight. Every look meant something. And every connection had the potential to become something real. Or disappear without warning. Pra and Gaia dear. Very easy-going baby Dana Majun. 2019 because I tried to just survive in that period, Maxie, and you start to realize that there were nights where everything felt infinite.
But in that moment, a good one, a park of hope and light.
Where laughter came easy, where plans didn't exist, where you didn't think about consequences or endings, where being present was enough, and where the world felt like it belonged to you, even if just for a few hours.
The end of August, and then here comes sweet September with the schoolyard, with baby, and then Klotza later. What a weird feeling of old smell, and at the same time a refreshing vibe for my ego. Finally, the waiting-a-dat road, bro Maxi, and in October when you prepare to plicating in Spain, and that discussion in the schoolyard on the Trepti. Wow, what a good vibe. And so wonderful moments. I think it was 5 October 2019, and then the next day, Bobby thinks she give me the cash picture, but I was moving forward, and I was much quicker for her, and my ego was to the roof, baby!
And then there were moments where everything felt uncertain.
I think it was 5 October 2019, and then the next day, baby thinks she gave me the cash picture, but I was moving forward, and I was much quicker for her, and my ego was to the roof, baby! Oh yeah, I started to feel like a king in that period, and everything was going better and better for me. What an autumn. Wow.
Your choices, your direction, yourself. But somehow, you kept moving. From match to match, from conversation to conversation, from feeling to feeling, trying to understand what was real, and what was just a moment. Because 2019 wasn't calm, it was intense. Unpredictable, alive. It was about chasing something you couldn't fully define. But one thing was certain. That year didn't just pass. It built something. Something unfinished. Something evolving. Something that would only make sense later. And as everything kept moving, faster and faster. With every game played, every person met, every decision made without fully understanding its impact.
To be continued. To be continued.
2019 didn't slow down. If anything, it accelerated in a way that made every day feel like it was carrying more weight than the last. Like time itself, I decided to move faster just to see if I could keep up. And somehow I did. Even when I didn't fully understand where I was going or why I kept saying yes to moments that felt too intense to last. Because by then, things had changed. Indoor soccer became something sharper, faster, almost aggressive in its rhythm, where every movement felt calculated but still driven by instinct, where the echo of the ball against the walls matched the pulse in my chest, and every goal felt like proof that I was alive, that I was present, that I was part of something real in a world that sometimes felt like it was slipping away. Indoor soccer became something sharper, faster, almost aggressive in its rhythm, where every movement felt calculated but still driven by instinct, where the echo of the ball against the walls matched the pulse in my chest, and every goal felt like proof that I was alive, that I was present, that I was part of something real in a world that sometimes felt like it was slipping away. Indoor soccer became something sharper, faster, almost aggressive in its rhythm, where every movement felt calculated but still driven by instinct, where the echo of the ball against the walls matched the pulse in my chest, and every goal felt like proof that I was alive, that I was present, that I was part of something real in a world that sometimes felt like it was slipping away.
Everything became deeper, so deeper.
The kind where plans didn't exist, but stories always happened, where one message turned into hours, where one conversation turned into something you didn't expect, where connections felt real even when you knew they might not last, and still you went all in. Because that was the energy of 2019. But this time, it was different, because the conversations were longer, the silences heavier, the looks more intense, like there was something unspoken building between moments. Something that didn't need words, but still said everything. And yet, nothing was simple.